Hi, my name is Samantha Lumley. I am in Bio 225. I'm doing lab experiment on environmental influences on microbial growth, salt tolerance testing. The date is June 6, 2019, and here is my workspace. I have already inoculated the S. epidermidis, so I am going to do the yeast next. So it calls to sterilize each tube of the percentage of sodium chloride. To take the yeast, this tube, this is my alcohol with my pipette, drying it out. I'm going to remove, drop 2 drops in each one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And my bleach solution over here, I'm going to recap. Each one. I'm gonna incubate for 24 hours. And then I'm going to view what it looks like at 24 hours. If there's no turbidity, I'm gonna incubate for an additional 24 hours and observe what it looks like that time. So I will be coming back to the next part in the video. Samantha Lumley. It is June 8th, 2019. I am in Bio 225 and I am doing experiment microbial growth with salt tolerance testing, and these are the results of my lab. I have slight, this is the S. epidermidis at a 1% sodium, and there is some cloudiness there, which means that there is growth and is positive for being able to grow in a 1% amount of salt in there. So the next one is a higher percentage, which is 7% sodium chloride with the S. epidermidis. It's slightly cloudy, so it's sort of tolerated a higher percentage. This would be considered a high percentage of salt, similar to, let's see, 5% to 27% is the sodium chloride levels in the Great Lakes, which is considered like where halophiles would live, which are bacteria that like to live in high salt water concentration. This is 15% sodium chloride. There's no growth here for Staph epidermidis, so they don't really like a high salt concentration. They like a lower salt. And it looks like it is the same for the yeast. It has a little yellow growth at the top. This is 1%. And the next one is very clear. There's no cloudiness. So unlike the epidermidis, the yeast does not like growing in a higher percentage of salt concentration. And this one is absolutely no growth in here for the 15% sodium chloride for the yeast. And that is my salt tolerance test for the yeast and the S. epidermidis. So both had growth in a low percentage of salt, so they grow okay in a low salt tolerance. The epidermidis grew at a higher percentage, but not very much. So neither one of them really like a high percent of salt. So they are not really salt tolerant. Samantha Lumley. I am in Bio 225. It is June 9th, 2019. I am doing the second experiment for pH testing for the environmental influence on microbial growth. My workspace is down here. I have already done the S. epidermidis. I made each one a pH level of 5, 7, and 9 and inoculated it with the microbe. So now I'm going to demonstrate it with the yeast. So this is the yeast broth culture, and I'm going to heat the tube. I'm putting it off to the side. This is the yeast labeled pH level number 9. And then I'm going to put it here. In order to make it a pH level of 9, I need to drop NaOH, which is the sodium hydroxide, and I need to do 1 drop. 1 drop. That. And then we're going to go to pH level of 7. Need any acid or base, just leave it the way it is. And then pH level of 5, I will be adding, for it to change it to pH level 5, I will be adding hydrochloric acid. And that is right here, and it's 1 drop. Okay, then I'm going to take a pipette from the alcohol, shake off the alcohol. And with a good aseptic technique, I'm going to draw up yeast culture and then pipe out pipette 2 drops in each one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Drop the rest in here. Bleach solution back here. I'm going to burn the top, or warm up the top. And then I'm going to do that for each one. Incubate for 24 to 48 hours. And then I will be back here to show the results of the lab. Hi, my name is Samantha. I'm in Bio 225. I am doing the second part, or the result part, of the pH testing for environmental influences on microbial growth. It is June 11th, 2019, and here is my results. I have epidermidis at a pH of 5, and it has some turbidity in the vial, which is a positive. I have the S. epidermis at pH of 7, and it also has some turbidity, but not much more than the 5. And the S. epidermis at pH of 9. When I look at all 3 of them, they all basically look the same. So, seems to grow at all of those pH levels. This is the yeast. They all seem to be the same. These guys have yellow at the top. pH of 9 has less yellow at the top in the yeast. The pH of 5 with the yeast, and 5 seems to have more yellow at the top at the yeast, and pH of 7 has less. So it seems like the pH of 5 has better growth than 7 or 9, but they all have turbidity, which means a positive result for all of them. The point of this lab was to determine whether they grow better in an acidic environment or a non-acidic environment. For most of the microorganisms, they are neutrophiles, and they grow best in a 7.0, between a 6.8 and a 7.4 range. So that would be like, this one would be the best growth for these guys, would be the 7. Then there's the acidophiles. And the acidophiles are 0 and 5.5, I'm sorry. And the alkaphiles, which grow it at 8.0 and 11.5. Well, the 9 would show growth in these, and this one shows better growth than this one. So the yeast grows okay in a pH of 9, but not as good as pH of 5. So these are my results for this lab.